theory that I have delivered in the class. So the assignment is about to determine the temperature distribution in two-dimensional temperature distribution, two-dimensional steady-state temperature distribution inside a nuclear fuel rod. So the what is the problem? Problem is, so what I have written here, consider the cross section of a nuclear fuel rod. So this is a nuclear fuel rod. The consider of the cross section is a plus type cross section. You can see plus type configuration. Nuclear energy at an uniform rate of Q triple prime watt per meter cube is generated in the rod. So this is a nuclear fuel rod where there is a generation of nuclear energy at a rate of Q triple prime watt per meter cube. The surrounding coolant is at a temperature T infinity and the heat transfer coefficient is H. So what is said that this nuclear fuel rod is exposed to an atmosphere or exposed to an environment where the temperature is T infinity. So you can see this is a nuclear fuel rod of plus cross section which is exposed to an environment where the temperature is T infinity and there is a heat transfer coefficient from the nuclear fuel rod to the coolant and the heat transfer coefficient is H. That means heat is getting transformed from these surfaces to the coolant through an heat transfer coefficient H. And there is a continuous generation of Q triple prime, continuous generation of heat transfer, continuous generation of heat inside this nuclear fuel rod, which is of plus cross section, two-dimensional nuclear fuel rod. What it is asked, you are required to determine the two-dimensional temperature distribution inside the nuclear fuel rod by computational fluid dynamics techniques, or the technique that you have learned through finite difference method. So you have to apply the finite difference method to obtain a temperature distribution inside the nuclear fuel rod, which is a plus cross section. Now, let me give you some hints so that it will be of help. So what are the hints? Now let us see what is the geometrical cross section. So geometry length of the fuel rod, so you can see this length is capital L. Capital A is the length, and similarly a length along y direction, if you call this is the x direction, if you call this is the y direction, length along the x direction is capital N, length along the y direction is capital L. So this is physically equal length. So both of the lengths are equal, and also the thickness. So maybe you can see the small thickness, which is small l here. So this is also small l. Small l here, small l here, small l here, and small l. This is lateral thickness, or you can say width. Basically, it is small l. This also with the small l, small n, and small n. So you can say either width or maybe the thickness, lateral thickness, which is small l. So both are all are uniform thickness. So this is also uniform. This is also uniform, right? So all are of uniform thickness, and there is an uniform generation of heat inside the nuclear fuel rod. So here Q triple prime, this is also Q triple prime. So everywhere there is a Q triple prime. So everywhere there is an uniform generation of heat, and at the same time, this fuel rod is exposed to an atmosphere where there is a temperature is T infinity. So here the temperature is T infinity, here the temperature is T infinity, here the temperature is T infinity, here also temperature is T infinity. Everywhere there's a temperature T infinity. Length is also equal, thickness is also equal, and Q triple prime is the internal heat generation, which is also similar, which is also same at everywhere inside the computation, inside the nuclear fuel rod. So you can see here there is a Q triple prime, here a Q triple prime. So everywhere heat generation is Q triple prime. Now you are asked to determine the temperature distribution inside the nuclear fuel rod. That is the primary objective of the problem. Now, if you want to solve this problem, what you will be doing first? You will be looking for the governing equation, right? Is that correct? Is that correct? So, if you want to solve this problem, what will be your approach? How will proceed? How will proceed?
Sir, first we need to identify the partial differential equation.
Yes.
So we have identified the partial differential equation. So that what we have said that this is a steady two-dimensional problem. Two-dimensional problem. Two-dimensional problem. Steady. This is a steady two-dimensional problem. Steady. This is a steady two-dimensional problem with an internal heat generation. So if you want to write the corresponding partial differential equation for this problem, so it will be a k del 2 t by del x2 plus del 2 t by del y2 plus q triple prime equal to 0, right? This is a partial differential equation. That is steady heat transfer, steady heat conduction problem with internal heat generation. You can write this partial differential equation. Okay, I think it is clear to all of you.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Yes. So now, if this is a partial differential equation. Now, what is the boundary condition? What is the boundary condition along x? So if this is the x direction, this is the y direction. So along any horizontal plane, so whether this is the plane or this is the plane or this is the plane or this is the plane, along any horizontal plane, what will be the boundary condition? Minus k del t del y equal to h t minus t infinity, right? That is conduction and convections are balanced. There is a heat transfer from the rod to the atmosphere or to the coolant, where temperature is T infinity. So along any horizontal plane, you can write heat transfer boundary condition along any horizontal boundary is minus k del t del y equal to h t minus t infinity. This is very standard boundary condition. You already know that. Convective boundary condition, or you can call it Robin's boundary condition. So what about the vertical plane? Horizontal plane already you know. This is the horizontal plane. This is the boundary condition minus k del t del y equal to h del t minus t infinity. Here also same. Here also same. And here also same. So horizontal boundary condition you know, and also this plane same boundary condition, same horizontal plane minus k del t del y equal to h t minus t infinity. What about the vertical planes? That means this plane, this plane, this plane, and this plane, this plane. What will be the vertical boundary condition along any vertical plane? Convective boundary condition, that is minus k del t del x equal to h t minus t infinity. So this is the convective boundary condition. This is the convective boundary condition at any vertical plane. Minus k del t del x equal to h t minus t infinity. At any vertical plane, this is the convective boundary condition. These two boundary conditions are clear to all of you, right? Have you understood? Does anybody have anybody have any questions? No. Okay. This is very clear and straightforward, because a horizontal boundary condition at a horizontal plane, this will be the boundary condition, and vertical plane, this will be the boundary condition. Now, what will be your next step? What will be your next step?
Symmetry condition, then
that will come later on. Now, what will be the next step? Next step is to make the equations dimensionless, right? So you have to make the equations dimensionless. So that means you have to choose a dimensional and non-dimensional parameter. So let us choose the dimensionless non-dimensional parameter t minus t infinity by q triple prime L square by k. That already I explained in the class. So how to make equations dimensionless for the heat generating phase. T minus t infinity q triple prime L square by k. Capital X equal to small x by capital L. So I am making dimensionless with respect to capital L. Capital X equal to small x by capital A, and capital Y equal to small y by capital L. So if you put, or if you make this equation dimensionless by employing these dimensionless parameters, you will obtain a dimensionless governing equation, that is del 2 theta by del x2 plus del 2 theta by del y2 plus 1 equal to 0. This is the temperature distribution equation. This is a dimensionless form of this equation. And what about, because since you have made this governing equation dimensionless, you need to also make these boundary conditions dimensionless, right? So for the first boundary condition, if you make this boundary condition, this convective boundary condition dimensionless by employing the dimensionless parameters, so first boundary condition will be del theta del y plus bi into theta equal to 0. Del theta del y plus bi into theta equal to 0. That is this boundary condition. Del theta del y plus bi into theta equal to 0. I will tell you what is bi. Similarly, this second boundary condition, if you make this equation but dimensionless, it will be del theta del x plus bi into theta equal to 0, where bi is the Biot number, which is defined as HL by k, small h capital L by k. I think everybody knows what is Biot number, right?
Yes, sir.
You have studied in your heat transfer class what is Biot number.
Yes, yes.
Yeah. Yes.
Yes, sir.
Yes,
Yes, sir. Yes.
Yeah. So it is a relative dominance of convection to the convection, maybe convection to the convection.
Yes, ratio of conduction is.
So when to consider convection and when to consider convection. So this is the relative dominance. We can define it by the Biot number. So this is the Biot number. That is Lamb parameter. So during your Lamb parameter analysis, you must have studied what is Biot number. So here you can see the dimensionless parameters. If you make this equation dimensionless, the governing equation dimensionless, the first equation will be like this. Second equation will be del theta del x del theta del y plus Biot number into theta equal to 0. Del theta plus del theta del x plus Biot number theta equal to 0. These are 2 equations and 3 equations. So you have to employ these 3 equations to obtain a temperature distribution theta xy in the rod using the finite difference method discussed in the class. So you have to employ these 3 equations, equation number 4, equation number 5, equation number 6. You have to employ these 3 equations to obtain steady state temperature distribution theta xy in the rod using the finite difference method discussed in the class. So this is the assignment that you have to do, and by writing your own code. So for group A, for group number one, already I have distributed in 4 groups. I have already distributed in 4 groups. So group number 1, you have to do this problem for small l by capital L, that is the ratio of small l by capital L equal to 0.25. You can see if you make this ratio dimensionless with respect to capital L, so this length will be 1. Small l by capital L equal to, so if you divide it by 1, that means 0.25. So small l will be 0.25 and capital L will be 1. So this is the case. So group number 1, you have to solve the problem small l by capital L equal to 0.25 for Biot numbers. So you have to run 5 simulations for Biot number 0.1, Biot number 2, Biot number 5, Biot number 10 and 50. So these are the 5 cases you have to study for a geometry where small l by capital L equal to 0.25. Group number 2, you have to study for small l by capital L equal to 0.15, and you have to perform simulations with Biot number 0.02, 1, 3, 7 and 20. So the 5 top Biot numbers that group number 2 has to study. Similarly, group number 3, here small l by capital L ratio equal to 0.2, and the Biot numbers that group number 3 has to study is 0.01, 0.3, 2, 7 and 100. These are the 5 Biot numbers that group number 3 has to study. And if you have group number 3, they have to perform the simulation. Similarly, for group number 4, small l by capital L ratio equal to 0.3, and Biot numbers are 0.01, 1, 4, 8 and 30. These are the 5 Biot numbers that group number 4 has to study, and you have to perform the simulation, numerical simulations. Okay, once you write your own code and once you perform the numerical simulations, so individually you have to see, I have distributed the groups. So group number 1, they have performed the simulations based on the geometrical parameters and also the Biot number values. Similarly, group number 2, they have to perform the simulations with the geometrical parameters and Biot number value. Group number 3 also, and group number 4 also. These are the 4 groups and these are the 4 parameters that I have mentioned for the individual groups. Now, once you have performed the simulations, so does anybody have any questions so far?
Yes, sir. While
Yes.
writing the code, how are we going to store the temperature in an array form? Or
I have discussed in the last class. Where are you in the last class? I didn't see you.
I
have discussed
didn't
in the
do
last
that.
class. Why? I have discussed in the last class. Sivnath, can you answer this question?
Sir, I actually came late in the last class, so I also
Who else?
don't know that.
Who else can answer this question? I can ask I can ask Shodadeep.
Yes, sir.
Can you answer this question? That Deep asked, and so Shivnath also was in confusion. Yeah.
Yes, we have to first initialize the temperature vector as per our initial guess if you are
Mhm.
using the iterative scheme.
Hmm.
Uh,
Then
uh, what is the question actually? I didn't get that.
no. They are asking that how to store the temperature values.
How to store in an array?
Yeah, array
Yeah.
from yes. So how to store the array? You can explain how to store the array, because last class I showed.
In MATLAB, it is easy. We can write the array by simply the initializing it to 0. I think 0, 0 like that only.
Yes. So what you need to do? You need to do again. I am repeating, but I expect that everybody should attend the class. It is not that you are just simply skipping the class. This is elective class. I expect everybody should do the class. This is not your regular class. So let me explain it again. So in the last class, what I explained that. So I can open the Excel file. I also explained how to generate the array and how to read the array in Techplot file. See, so these are the XY coordinate, X coordinate, Y coordinate, temperature value. This is the X coordinate, this is the Y coordinate, temperature value. That means if you have to discretize the domain into number of small computational grids actually. So at every grid you know the coordinates. Coordinate number is the coordinate number 1, coordinate number 2, coordinate number 3, and so on and so forth. So every coordinate, what is the temperature value you have to store? X coordinate value, Y coordinate value, and temperature value. So these are the values that you have to store in a coordinate in Excel or in a data file. Data file actually you have to store these values. So these are the coordinates and values. For example, if you want to discretize, suppose this is your domain. Again, I am explaining. This is the domain. This is the domain. If you are discretizing the domain into number of grids, you are discretizing the domain in a number of grids. Suppose I am discretizing the domain into number of grids. Suppose this is your x coordinates. Suppose this is your x. This is your y. This is your coordinate number 1. This is your coordinate number 2, coordinate number 3, and so on and so forth. Coordinate number n. Similarly, coordinate number n plus 1, and so on and so forth. So you know the coordinate value, coordinate x coordinate and y coordinate. For example, this is your x coordinate first and a y coordinate. So suppose this is your coordinate number 1, x1, y1, and you know the temperature value because you have solved numerically by finite difference technique. So temperature T1. Similarly, coordinate number 2, this is your x2, y2, T2. Similarly, coordinate number n will be xn, yn, and tn. Similarly, you can say for all the coordinates. So these are the coordinates, and basically this is the finite difference grid points. These are finite difference grid points. Finite difference grid point. This is also finite difference grid point. Suppose this is the coordinate number, say xnn. So xnn, ynn, and tnn. Now you can save this information in a file, data file. So once you solve your problem, once you write your code and you solve the problem, you can save this information in a data file in this form: x coordinate, y coordinate, and temperature value, like that way. That means x1, y1, and t1. Similarly, x2, y2, and t2. Dot up to the end, last point: xnn, ynn, and tnn. Okay, so you have to save all those points in a coordinate file and temperature, because you need to determine what is the temperature distribution at different points in the domain. Now, if you want to determine the temperature distribution at different points into domain, you need to evaluate the coordinate value and corresponding temperature value. This is the coordinate value, coordinate number 1, x coordinate, y coordinate, temperature. So you have to write those files. You have to generate. You have to generate the program. The program write those information in a data file, .dat file or .txt file, whatever file you want to generate, you can generate. So your text file or data file, it will be looking like something like this: x coordinate, y coordinate, temperature value. So you have to save all those information. So that's information that you have saved. The program will generate the array file, and array file will be written in the data file. Once you have written the data file in this this .dat file, that dot file you have to read in a text plot. So how to read? I also explained. Again, I am explaining it. So how to read? Suppose you have written data file in .text. So you open the text plot. Text plot. This is a text plot software I have already opened. You have to open the text plot software. This has been opened. Text plot software. Then file, load data files, text plot data loader. Then what is the file? You have to choose the file. So it is in my E drive. So online class, online courses, CFD. So let us say this is the file I have written, data file, text.txt, where all the data are there. .text. So now it is a two-dimensional coordinate, 2D Cartesian. It is open. So it will be something like, it will be showing something like that. And then you have to do data, triangulate, zone 1, and compute. Computations of data are done. Close. Then you have to close the mesh. Then just check on the contour. It will show the temperature distribution. This is the contour of temperature distribution. Like the data file you have written, x data and y data temperature. So how the temperature is varying for the whole domain, that contour plot can be generated this text plot software. This is a text plot post-processing software, CFD post-processing software. Understood?
Yes, sir. Yes.
Is that understood?
Yes,
To I think everybody has to use this. Everybody has to follow this procedure for generating the post-processing results. Okay, I think this is clear now. Any doubt, Shivnath, Arnav, or anybody has any doubt?
No, sir.
Okay. Now you can use this. Now, so let me close it. There is no point of opening it. Okay, once you have done your numerical simulation and you have obtained the results, then what you have to do? You have to prepare a report. The report should be professional, right? You are writing a report. It should be something like once a CFD engineer, if you perform a numerical simulation, that CFD engineer has to submit a report. The report has a particular format, so you have to follow that format. So you have to learn how the CFD report looks like. So it will be something like this. In the report, you have to start problem formulation. Problem formulation in a chapter, the problem formulation chapter. The chapter number 1 is problem formulation. There you have to mention the initial assumptions for formulating the problems. What are the assumptions you have taken for formulating the problem? What are the assumptions for formulating the problem? Then what are the governing equations and boundary conditions? So you are solving a problem. So what are the assumptions for the that you have chosen? What are the assumptions that you have taken, and what are the boundary conditions? Okay. So for formulating the problem, what are the typical assumptions? Typical assumptions for formulating the problem, and what are the boundary conditions?
Sir, please, I'm actually due to network issues, I left in between. Can you please restart the discussion on the report writing, CFD report?
I am just starting actually. I have just started. No issue. Let me start again. Okay, so in the report writing, what you have to do, you have to follow certain format. Fine. Okay. So how the format looks like? So it will be something like that. You have to start with the problem formulation. So chapter 1 will be the problem formulation. In the problem formulation chapter, it will contain all the assumptions for the formulating of the problem, the assumptions you have invoked for formulation of the problem. Then it will include the governing equations, which governing equation you have chosen, and the boundary conditions. So it will contain your assumptions, your governing equations and boundary conditions. So those are the information that chapter 1 will contain. Then chapter 2, computational method. Here you need to detail about the computational method you are employing. That is, which method basically you are employing. Finite difference method you are employing. Then how you are discretizing the equation. That is, once you have obtained the finite difference method, so which method you have employed? For example, for the governing equation, you have employed central difference, and boundary condition, you have employed image point technique and also central difference technique. So how we are discouraging those equations that you have to write in index format, IJ format. Then computational geometry. So you have to draw the computational geometry. So which computational geometry you are choosing? What is the discretization equations? So what are the discretized equations? So how you have discretized the governing equation? What method you have chosen for discretization, and how you have discretized the boundary conditions, and what is your computational geometry? That you need to detail in the computational method chapter. Then you have to write method of solution, that which solution method you have employed, Gauss-Seidel method, Gaussian elimination method, or TDM method. Suppose you have used Gauss-Seidel method, basically, which is very common for this kind of problem. So if you use Gauss-Seidel method, or maybe TDM method, if you have used TDM method, you have to write which method you have employed and how you are solving the problem. Gauss-Seidel method or Gaussian elimination method, that you have to write. And you have to show in IJK in this format. Yes, I am writing this Gauss-Seidel method. These are the discretized equation, and TDM method. These are the discretized equation, and I am using this discretizing. I am using this method for solution of the computational problem or solution of the discretized set of governing equations. This is the method of solution. Then you have to write results and discussion part. The results and discussion part, what you have to do? If you perform grid independence test, you can also perform. You are welcome to perform grid independence test. Then you have to generate your post-processing results. So here what you have to do? You have to employ Techplot software for generating the post-processing results for different Biot numbers. Biot number equal to 0.1. For example, group number 1, you have to generate two-dimensional temperature contour for Biot number 0.1, 2, 5, 10, and 50. So these are the 5 figures or 5 two-dimensional contours you have to plot, and you have to generate, and you have to save those figures in the report. You have to extract in those figures either EPS format or TIF format or JPEG format, which format you are comfortable with, because in a Techplot you can extract those figures. So you need to plot all those post-processing figures in the results and discussion chapter. So you have to mention all those figures, and you have to incorporate all those information in the result and discussion chapter. And each figure will contain figure details. That, for example, in the figure 1, the figure 1 is for example, you are writing the figure 1 is for Biot number equal to 0.1. Then you have to write temperature contours, the contours of temperature or contours of temperature distribution inside the nuclear fuel rod for Biot number 0.1. This is the figure title. So each figure number will contain the figure title. That is done. Then at the end, the chapter number 5. Here actually you have to submit your code. So the code, which language you're comfortable with, you have written your code in Fortran 90. So you have to copy and paste the code in your report, and you have to make the report. And in the chapter number 5, it will be submission of the code. So you have to copy and paste your code in the report file, and that code you have to attach with the report. Then finally you have to prepare, or you have to make a PDF file. That PDF file you have to upload, or you have to PDF file upload in Google Form. That Google Form I will be sending you soon. So this is the complete hierarchy of writing the report. So this is the methodology you have to follow while writing the reports, computational fluid dynamics assignment report. Understood? Does anybody have any questions? Please ask me. Is that clear?
Yes, sir.
Is that clear? Kostov, is that clear?
Yes, sir.
Yes, Kostov.
Sir, can you provide us with any any demo PDF of such a report or something which has been written?
Techplot.
No, I'm saying that can you provide us with any like demo PDF or any of such a report which has already been done? So
I don't have such report available with me. So you just write a report. If something corrections are required, I'll let you know.
okay, sir.
Or you can, or why don't you write a report and send it to me? I'll check it and distribute to everyone. This is the
Okay,
correct
sir.
way of
Okay,
writing
thank
report.
you, sir. So before finalizing it, we'll send it to you once.
Yeah. Before finalizing the report, you just prepare a report and send it to me. I'll check it and I'll let you know. I'll let everyone know
Okay, sir.
that yes, this is the format that you have to follow.
Okay.
Any other questions? Joy?
Sir, like the
No.
problem formulation part,
Shivnath.
we
Yes,
need
sir.
to do it, I mean, by text or by handwriting.
No. You just use. There's no point of handwriting because already, anyway, you are submitting online report, right? You have to prepare a PDF file, then you have to submit a report. So, what is the point of writing in handwriting? You just
Okay,
type
sir.
it.
Okay,
But,
okay.
but don't copy. Don't copy. Please don't copy. Okay. Just type it and prepare your own. Write your own in own language. Yes, Joy. You're asking something?
No, sir. No, sir.
Okay. Yes, Trishul, you are not asking anything. You are keeping yourself silent.
Uh, Sir, I have no doubt.
Okay, you are very good. Then. Shona, any doubt?
Sir, I was going to ask that the report has to be handwritten or typed.
Okay, now it will be typed. Now it is clear, right? Okay. Okay then. So now since this is a typed report, that report you have to submit it, and but I will check whether people are copying that or not. That is very important. Whatever you are writing, you write in your own language. Don't copy.
Sir,
Because if you copy, you will not be able to understand anything. You have to the primary object. Yes, I will be telling you. If you copy, then you will not be able to understand anything. You will not able to learn the subject. The basic purpose will be lost. Okay. Regarding deadline, I will be circulating the problem PDF file today. Today is 20th of December. I'll be giving you 15 days. I'll be giving you 15 days. You have to submit the report on Sunday, 3rd of January by 5 p.m. in the evening. Is that clear? Sunday, 3rd of January by 5 p.m. in the evening on or before. Is that okay? Anybody has any question?
No, sir.
Okay. So you have to submit the report on or before Sunday, 3rd of January by 5 p.m. in the evening. So I have given you 15 days for completion of the report. Okay.
Sir,
I think this, yes.
Sir, another thing, sir, the tech plot which you showed in that software, then basically that temperature distribution graph came on the screen.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So, sir, like we have to give that in the report also for inference, or that is for only us for the calculation or like.
No. Once you have calculated temperature distribution, then you have to generate the plot. That plot you have to export from the tech plot, and that
And
information you have to put it in your report.
okay.
Okay, so you have to export in either EPS or JPEG or TIF format. Which format you are okay? You can export the plot and you can put in your report.
Okay.
Okay, so I think regarding this as a computer assignment is clear to everybody. I hope you will enjoy while doing this numerical simulation. One very important question, one very important thing that I am giving you one hint. Deep asked this question. Where is Deep? Yes, Deep Chatterjee. Now I am giving you another hint. So, do we have to simulate the entire geometry? Do you have to consider the entire domain? What is your opinion?
No.
No, sir. Only one side maybe.
Only one. How much? Like one or one fourth of the domain.
Sir, 1/4.
Exactly. Very good. That was my. So basically, what you have to do, since the problem is symmetric problem, right? That already you have identified already. This the problem is symmetric problem.
Sir,
Yes.
sir, please repeat the deadline. In my mind, today my network is very much disturbing. Please repeat the deadline.
Don't worry. I will circulate while I will be mentioning the deadline while circulating the report. Don't worry. Deadline
Okay,
is 3rd of January by 5 p.m. I will not consider the report after 5 p.m. 3rd of January.
3rd January.
Okay, so by 5 p.m. So I have given 14 days of time. 14 or 15 days of time I have given. So
Yes, 15.
one important thing what I was discussing. So this is the geometry. Sorry, this is the thing actually. Okay, maybe. Now, one thing I am happy that you have learned that you don't have to consider the entire geometry. So you have to consider only the 1/4 of the domain. So what you have to do, instead of choosing the entire domain, if you divide it by 4 parts, that means if you choose only 1/4 of the domain, that will be sufficient enough, right? So if you choose this part, that instead of choosing the entire domain, so you can divide it by 4 parts because all are symmetric. That means instead of choosing the entire domain, you can choose only 1/4 of the domain. That means you can choose up to this. Okay. If you solve your problem, that will be sufficient enough. So what will be the boundary condition for this domain? Del T?
Del T del X equals to 0.
Very good. Del T del X equal to 0. And what about that? Del T
Del Y.
del Y equal to 0.
Del T del Y equal to.
Yes.
And what about this boundary and this boundary?
Already mentioned in the problem.
Already mentioned in the problem. Yes. So if you write your code only for this L kind of geometry, only for this computational domain, you could able to generate the temperature or you could able to capture the temperature distribution inside the entire nuclear fuel rod. Okay, that's clear. Okay. Anybody has any doubt? Does anybody have any doubts or any questions?
No, sir.
Okay. Okay. So then I'm just closing the computer assignment part. I'll be starting the problem. So okay. So I have discussed the computational part. Now, so far we have learned the computational method or numerical method for the diffusion problem. That is temperature distribution when there is no convection. That is, there is no convection effects are present. Now, in reality, for example, in the fluid flow problem, when there is a fluid motion and if you want to solve a fluid flow problem, it involves both convection and diffusion. Like, for example, if you see that your Navier-Stokes equation, it contains both convection and diffusion equations. So Navier-Stokes equation consists of convection part and diffusion part. So basically this is a combination of convection and diffusion. So then what will be the corresponding numerical method and what will be our approach in solving the problem for fluid flow problem? That is the next chapter, or there is the next topic that I will be discussing. The numerical methods for incompressible fluid flow. So, fluid flow may be compressible or incompressible. There are two types of fluid flow. But in your syllabus, we are primarily aiming to understand or to study the numerical methods for incompressible fluid flow. So when there is incompressible fluid flow, what will be the numerical method? That we shall study now. Now, in general, if we see the fluid flow problems, for incompressible fluid flow problems, there are class of fluid flow problems. For example, whether it is incompressible or incompressible fluid flow problem. So in general, incompressible fluid flow problems of maybe three types. One is creeping flow, which is basically flow when there is Reynolds number is very, very less. For example, flow of glaciers. Creeping flow problem. Fluid flow inside a macro channel is a creeping flow problem. There is no convection part present in the problem. So there is no appearance of convection part in the governing equation, the governing Navier-Stokes equation. Flow inside a macro channel. This is basically creeping flow problem. Very low Reynolds number problem. Flow inside your veins, blood veins. This is a creeping flow problem. Very low Reynolds number problem. But big arteries which is connecting your heart, that is very that is not a low Reynolds number problem. There is convection diffusion both are present. Now, for example, there is another class of problem boundary layer type of flow. For example, flow near a flat plate, where the effect of viscosity or effect of shear stress is limited to a very thin region closer to the wall or nearer to the wall. Those kind of problems basically are called the boundary layer kind of flow problems. So basically, there you need to consider special types of Navier-Stokes equation, the same Navier-Stokes equation by consideration of the viscosity and with some pertinent approximation applicable for the boundary layer type of flows. Another is inviscid flow, that is inviscid or frictionless flow, where viscosity basically closer to zero. So those kind of flow basically we come across when the flow velocity is very, very, very high. For example, fluid flow around the aeroplane. So an aeroplane is flying above 10 kilometers from the ground. So if you want to characterize the fluid flow nearer to the aeroplane, so those kind of fluid flow basically we can approximate those kind of fluid flow will be an incompressible or maybe an irrotational flow. So maybe viscosity is closer to zero. So those are three kinds of flow problems that may arise in reality. Another kind of flow that is called with compressible flow, when there is a continuous change of density, continuous change of viscosity inside the flow. So basically primary change of density. If density changes, then all the fluid properties will change. Formation of shock wave, shock layer. So those kind of flow basically are called compressible flow. Generally, when the Mach number of the flow is less than 0.3, we call this compressible flow. So all those kind of flow that may arise in reality. So then we need to apply pertinent governing equation to solve those classes of fluid flow problem that may exist in reality. So what will be the numerical methods for solving those classes of fluid flow problem that we shall discuss in the subsequent slides or subsequent classes. Primarily in this computational fluid dynamics course, basically we will be limited to two-dimensional incompressible fluid flow problem. That's why in general, in fluid flow, the governing equation that governs the fluid flow motion are the three equations. One is your continuity equation, which is your mass conservation equation. Another is x momentum conservation equation, which is, so if u and v are the velocities along x and y directions, so continuity equation will tell that del u del x plus del v del y equal to 0. Incompressible continuity, two-dimensional continuity equation. Similarly, x momentum equation, already that is rho del u del t plus u del y del x plus v del y del y. This is a convection term. This is a transient term. You can say half steady term. This is the convection term equal to minus del p del x. This is a pressure gradient term. x direction pressure gradient plus viscosity mu. This is your diffusion term, del 2u by del x2 plus del 2u by del y2. This is a diffusion term. This is a convection term. This is a transient term, convection term, pressure gradient term plus viscosity times your diffusion term. This is the x momentum equation. Now your y momentum equation will be there. So momentum conservation equation along the x direction. This is a momentum conservation equation along the x direction. This is similarly momentum conservation equation along the y direction. It is a rho del v del t plus u del v del x plus v del v del y equal to minus del p del y plus mu del 2 v del x2 plus del 2 v del y2. This is the y momentum conservation equation. So these are the primary three equations that you need to solve to numerically to characterize or to analyze the fluid flow problem in practice. For example, there is a fluid which is flowing inside a pipe. Or if you remember in the first class, I showed you one animation that flow past a circular cylinder. If you can remember, the flow past a circular two-dimensional circular cylinder. So in that kind of flow, basically, we generally solve these three sets of equations only to characterize the flow past a circular cylinder or flow inside a pipe. So if you want to characterize the flow inside a pipe, if you want to see how the fluid is flowing inside a pipe, if you want to visualize, you need to solve numerically these three equations, the continuity equation, x momentum equation, and y momentum equation, to characterize the fluid motion inside a pipe or flow past a circular cylinder. Any doubt up to that? Any doubt up to that? Do you have any doubt?
No, sir.
Okay. I think this is very much clear and straightforward. Now, you can say, compared to the diffusion case, that is a heat transfer case when there is a heat conduction. So if you want to solve this problem, you can see these are all the nonlinear equations, nonlinear partial differential equations. You can see these equations are primarily nonlinear partial differential equation. Why? Because you can see this is a dependent term u v. This is a dependent term, and x y is an independent term. You can see a dependent and independent term are coupled. Here you can see constant term. So this is a coefficient. The coefficient also consists a variable which is a dependent variable. Similarly, this is a coefficient which also consists a variable which also a dependent variable. So this existence of this dependent variable in the coefficients of this partial differential equations makes this Navier-Stokes equation nonlinear. So if you want to solve this Navier-Stokes equation, that means you have to solve this nonlinear set of differential equation. Another problem is that there are no equations for the pressure gradient available. Can you see any pressure gradient? Because if you want to solve this problem, you can guess a value of E and you can iterate it continuously to obtain maybe some explicit method. You can iterate it continuously to obtain a velocity distribution. But what will happen to the pressure? Do we have an equation for the pressure? Right. So if you want to calculate the pressure distribution, do we have any equation for the pressure? So will you be able to solve this equation until unless you have a pressure equation available with you? Is that possible? Because this equation, you have a u momentum equation, this you have a v momentum equation, but there is no equation for the pressure. How to solve the equation for the pressure? Is that possible?
Sir, please repeat the question.
The question is that
Yes.
we have equations for the u momentum equation. We have equations for v, but we don't have equation for the pressure. Then how we calculate the pressure? Do we have equation for the pressure?
Okay.
We don't have equation for the pressure. Right? We don't have equation for the pressure. So if you don't have equation for the pressure, then how will you solve this equation? That is not possible, because then that's why if you don't have equation for the pressure, you will not able to solve this x momentum, y momentum, or continuity equation together to obtain a velocity distribution inside a pipe or flow past a circular cylinder. That makes this fluid flow problem or numerical methodology for the fluid flow problem very challenging. So you have to apply certain specialized technique or certain special numerical methods to obtain numerical solutions for velocity distribution inside a inside any inside a pipe or flow buster circular cylinder, or any physical situation where you are going to obtain velocity distribution numerically. That is the primary challenge of this fluid flow problem. So there you don't have any option but to obtain a special equation for the pressure. So that is called the primitive variable approach that I will discuss maybe in the later stages of this later stage of this course. So what I will be discussing now. So what will be the approach so that we can solve these sets of governing equation numerically without facing any problem of not having any special equation for the pressure. Since we don't have any special equation for the pressure available with us, so without facing any problem of not having any special equation for the pressure, we are going to solve these equations numerically by invoking a special approach. So that already I have discussed. Since we don't, this is a nonlinear equation and there is no pressure equation available. So what is the alternative? The most popular method which employs in solving the velocity distribution or for the solution of Navier-Stokes equation is called stream function vorticity method. It is the stream function and vorticity method. So with the application of stream function and vorticity method, we could able to solve velocity distribution inside a domain without having a special equation for the pressure. But there are certain limitations, because in the stream function vorticity equation, basically since there is no special equation for the pressure is available with us, we generally get rid of pressure term. Basically we generally get rid of this term del P del X or del P del Y term from the momentum equation by doing some special kind of differentiation to get rid of this del P del X and del P del Y term, and accordingly we obtain some equation which we generally call the vorticity transport equation. So basically we get rid of this pressure equation, pressure term, because since we don't have any pressure equation available with us, we get rid of those pressure terms by performing some manipulations to the Navier-Stokes equation to obtain a vorticity transport equation. That is called stream function and vorticity method. This is one of the most famous method in solving Navier-Stokes equations numerically without having known or without having a special equation for the pressure gradient. Now there are certain advantages and disadvantages of this stream function vorticity method. Please note that this stream function vorticity method is valid for only two-dimensional problem. So for the two-dimensional problem only we can apply this method. Otherwise for the three-dimensional problem, since there is three-dimensional problem, there is no existence of stream function. Stream function is valid for only two-dimensional case. So since there is no existence of stream function, for the three-dimensional case, we cannot apply stream function vorticity method for the numerical solution of Navier-Stokes equation. That is, this method is restricted to two-dimensional problem only. And there is another problem is that there are difficulties in specification of vorticity at the wall. So wall vorticity specification is very difficult, but that can be circumvented. There are certain specialized technique I will discuss. And advantages is very advantageous for the solution of two-dimensional problem, because there is no special appearance of pressure. So basically we are get rid of the special gradient terms by performing some special kind of elimination, and accordingly since this stream function already satisfies this continuity equation, because in the continuity equation we are deriving the stream function by satisfying the continuity equation. Since we are using the stream function also satisfies the continuity equation. So we don't have to think of that whether the solution that we are obtaining by solution of this Navier-Stokes equation with the stream function and vorticity method, that is satisfying the continuity equation or not. It is already satisfying because we are using the stream function, which is obtained by satisfying the continuity.
Sir,
That is
can
called the
you
stream function and vorticity method. Yes, yes, yes.
can you repeat this thing means in a slower pace?
Okay,
There are
okay.
means the applicability of stream function vorticity method. Means the applicability of the stream function vorticity.
Okay. So what actually I was discussing, the stream function and vorticity method, that is a method which employs a certain technique that we get rid of pressure gradient time, because there is no special equation for the pressure gradient available with us. We get rid of the special gradient by applying certain techniques, and we basically come up with the equation. We basically come up with the equation which is called the vorticity transport equation, right? Now equation, basically we will be doing some operation to the Navier-Stokes equation, and we finally will obtain vorticity transport equation. And this advantage and disadvantage of this method, basically advantage, since there is no equation for the pressure, and the vorticity transport equation does not contain any equation for the pressure. So if you solve vorticity transport equation numerically, you can obtain the solution for the velocity, u velocity and v velocity. But the problem with the method is that this method is applicable for two-dimensional case only, because the definition of stream function is only possible for two-dimensional case. Three-dimensional, there is no existence of stream function, right?
Yes,
Is that
yes.
clear? So this method is not applicable for the three-dimensional case. It is only applicable for the two-dimensional case. Now you will find in the later stages that we can solve very complicated problem for this with the stream function vorticity method if the problem is two-dimensional in nature. So this method is very much applicable for the two-dimensional problem, and this method cannot be applied for the three-dimensional problem, since there is no existence of stream function at three dimension. Now you may ask what we'll be doing for the three-dimensional problem if you want to solve this three-dimensional problem. That approach is called a primitive variable approach, that I will discuss in the later stages of this class. Later stages of this course, that what is the primitive variable approach and how we can apply primitive variable approach for the three-dimensional problem. But please note that since the scope of this syllabus is restricted to two-dimensional problem only, so for the two-dimensional problem, the stream function and vorticity method is very popular, and one can apply the stream function and vorticity method for the numerical solution of flow problems in any complicated industrial geometry or any geometry under consideration. For example, if you want to solve flow past a circular cylinder, the numerical simulation I showed you in the first class, you can apply the stream function vorticity method to obtain a solution of velocity field inside the domain, or velocity field past a circular cylinder. Is that clear? Is that clear?
Yes, sir.
Does anybody have any doubts? Anybody have any questions on stream function vorticity method? Advantages and disadvantages, and what is that method? Where to apply, why not to apply?
Okay, means applicable for 2D but not 3D.
Yes, applicable for 2D, not 2D. It is that why? Because three-dimensional case, we don't have any definition of stream function available, right?
Yes.
Yes, sir. Okay.
Sir, then what kind of equation we apply for the problems of 3D?
That is called three-dimensional problem. Three-dimensional problem, yes. Three-dimensional problem, basically, we also solve Navier-Stokes equation, because Navier-Stokes equation is the primary equation, right? Fluid flow problem, you need to solve Navier-Stokes equation only. But for the three-dimensional problem, we have to solve three-dimensional Navier-Stokes equation. But there is a method called primitive variable method. I will discuss the later stages of this course. For three-dimensional problem, what kind of method we have to apply? Okay, there is an advanced method actually. There are advanced CFD techniques. Okay, anybody? Okay, then let me proceed. Maybe I will discuss what is stream function vorticity method then. Okay, let me proceed.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Okay. Now, what is stream function and vorticity method? That let me discuss what is stream function and vorticity method. So, let us start with the Navier-Stokes equation, X momentum equation. It is rho del u del t plus u del u del x plus v del p del y equal to minus del p del x plus mu del 2 u by del x2 plus del 2 u by del y2. This is the X momentum equation, right? And this is the Y momentum equation, rho del v del t plus u del v del x plus v del v del y equal to minus del p del y plus mu del t v by del x2 plus del t v by del y2. So what is the objective? Can anybody answer this question? What is the objective?
To eliminate the
Gradient of
pressure.
pressure.
To eliminate the pressure gradient terms.
Very good. So we have to eliminate the pressure gradient. What do you have to do? Very common sense. Let us differentiate X momentum equation with y, with respect to y. Del del y of this equal to minus del 2p by del x del y plus mu del del y by del 2u by del x2 plus del 2u by del y2. Is that clear? Very straightforward. Then, is it clear?
Yes, sir.
Then what do you have to do for the y momentum equation? Taking derivative with respect to x.
Yes. Yes.
You take derivative with respect to x.
Yes.
So del del x, del del x, del del x, del v del t plus u del v del x plus v del v del y equal to minus del 2v by del x2 plus mu del 2 del del x of del 2v by del x2 plus del 2v by del y2. Okay. Then what do you have to do? Then what do you have to do?
Then we have to subtract.
Good. Have to subtract 1 from 2, right?
Yes. Yes.
1, 2. Subtracting 1 minus 2. Then what will have? So this equation del del y minus del u del t du del u del x plus v del u del y equal to minus rho del del x del v del t u del v del x plus v del v del y equal to minus del 2p by del x del y plus mu this del y of this plus that from y momentum equation we are getting del 2v by del x del y minus mu del x of del 2v by del x2 plus del 2v by del y2. So this term cancels out. Now let us take common rho del t take common. So what will have? Del u del y minus del v del x. Right? Is that clear?
Del
Is
del
it clear? Del t, if we take del dt common, it will have del u del y minus del v del x. Right?
Okay, sir.
Plus
Yes.
plus u del x plus u del x. U del x common. Now del u del y minus del v del x. Okay. If we take del v del x common, if we del x common, del x common, del u del y minus del v del x plus v del y plus v del y common, del u del y minus del v del x. Clear? This line is clear? Yes or no? Clear? Clear to everybody?
Yes, sir. Yes.
Okay. Now let us see what is happening to this equation. This term cancels out. So mu del 2 by del x2 common. Del 2 by del x2 common. Del u del y minus del v del x plus del 2 by del y2 common. Del u del y minus del v del x. Right? Now, what is this? Del u del y del v del x is a vorticity.
Field.
Yeah. Right? So let us define vorticity. Already you know definition of vorticity. Vorticity So del u del y minus del v del x. So basically vorticity this chi equal to del v del x minus del u del y. So I'm writing minus chi equal to del u del y minus del v del x. So both are same, right?
Minus, okay, yes.
Vorticity equal to del v del x minus del u del y.
Yes, yes.
So minus chi equal to del u del y minus del v del x. So taking sign is on the left hand side. Okay, so this is vorticity. Are you convinced? This is vorticity.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Okay, so now you just substitute the del u del y minus del v del x term with the vorticity zeta.
Sir, say in the second step, in the left hand side, there should not be a rho into u into del x into del u del y.
Rho,
Yes.
Now okay. Now okay.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
That was the type. Another problem is there. Another problem is there. Typo mistake. Clear now?
Yes, sir.
Is that clear? So now we are substituting the expression of zeta, that is vorticity, into this momentum equation. So you are obtaining rho del chi del t plus u del chi del x plus v del chi del y equal to mu del 2 chi by del x2 plus del 2 chi by del y2. Okay. Rho del chi del t plus u del chi del x plus v del chi del y equal to mu del 2 chi by del x2 plus del 2 chi by del y2. Yeah. So we can write substituting this zeta into this equation. This term, we can substitute by zeta, right? You can substitute zeta by, right?
yes, yes.
Substitute. So it will have del chi del t plus u del chi del x plus v del chi del y equal to mu del 2 chi by del x2 plus del 2 chi by del y2. So this is the vorticity transport equation. You can see there is no existence of pressure term. We get rid of the pressure gradient term and we obtain a vorticity transport. This equation is the famous vorticity transport equation. So this equation can be written as total derivative rho del d zeta d chi by dt equal to mu grad square zeta. Right? Can I write this equation as this? You can write. You are studying in a fluid mechanics course. Total derivative. So total derivative of substantial derivative, convective derivative. So d zeta dt equal to mu grad square zeta. Clear? So this is the vorticity transport equation, which is used for solution of the Navier-Stokes equation instead of fully coupled Navier-Stokes equation. That is, we can simply obtain a vorticity transport equation by ignoring the pressure gradient term.
Sir, we are assuming del u del y minus del v del x as minus zeta. So shouldn't be there a minus at the
Where it will come?
At
Minus
the
will be there.
left-hand side.
Here.
Yes, sir.
Here.
Yes, sir.
Here it will be minus and here will be also minus, right?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Okay.
It will cancel, right?
Okay, sir. Okay, sir. Understood.
Okay. Now you will obtain a vorticity transport equation. So this equation you have to solve numerically. So by finite difference technique, explicit technique, and to obtain a solution of zeta. From zeta you can obtain velocity. So I will discuss in the next class. Now you have understood. So how to obtain a vorticity transport equation? Clear?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Clear.
So let me end the class today. So in the next class I will be discussing how to obtain the stream function equation. So what is the streamline equation or stream function equation? Okay.
Sir, will we have to apply this in our assignment?
Which assignment?
The assignment you
Yes,
today.
No, no, no. I don't think so.
Do you have to solve float problem inside the domain?